This is a big chunk of my PDF sewing pattern collection, and this is only the ones I've actually printed out. This might look like chaos, but trust me, I know exactly what sewing patterns I have, both digital and paper, and I can find what I need in an instant. So if you're tired of digging through piles of patterns or scrabbling to find fabric details on the go, then this video is for you. Stick around and I'll show you how I organize my patterns, my fabric stash, and my ongoing sewing patterns so they're always at my fingertips no matter where I am. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and this is Ripper Seams. Now if you're anything like me, you probably absolutely love sewing, but perhaps not so thrilled about all the extra chaos that comes along with it. Lots of patterns, lots of fabrics, lots of notions, let alone all the tools that are involved. Now, whilst I've got an ongoing plan to help me organize the physical aspects of sewing, over the years I have developed a 4-step foolproof system to stay on top of both my fabric and pattern stashes. It saves me a whole heap of time and stress, and I thought I'd share it with you today because I've seen quite a few comments online recently where people are feeling a bit overwhelmed with all their different PDF files and asking others how they actually sort theirs out. So I'm going to share my filing system and some of the tools which I found really useful. Now obviously this is a system which I personally use and there's a whole heap of other ones out there, but I'm just hoping that maybe what I share with you today might just help you out and maybe give you a bit of organizing inspiration. I will also be referring to the apps that I personally use. But I do want to call out that this video is not sponsored by any of these companies or apps. I'm sharing them because these are the ones I've used, I've tested them, and I find them extremely useful. I will be sharing alternative options where I know some are available, and I'll be popping all the links to everything I mentioned in this video down in the description. So go take a look and find out what might work for you. So let's take a look at these steps in a bit more detail. So step 1 is to download your file. Now this one seems like a bit of a no-brainer, but I do know some people who purchase a pattern but then leave it sitting in their personal account for that particular pattern company. Now this seems like a fairly sensible idea, but you don't want to take the risk of that pattern not being available the next time you go to log into that account. My rule of thumb is that if you've purchased something digitally online, download it immediately and save it in a location that is controlled by you. Now whilst the sewing community is pretty sound in this area, there have been instances in the wider crafting community where businesses have ceased trading and immediately shut down the website, locking users from accessing their patterns as a result. You definitely don't want that heartache, so if you have purchased that pattern, save it somewhere that you control. Now to take us through my filing system, let's use an actual live example. So today I purchased the Dala dress and jumpsuit by True Bias. So here is my download link, and as I mentioned, I will always download my files immediately. From my browser, this will save to my downloads file in my document files, and you can see it here. So now that I know that my Dala jumpsuit pattern is downloaded onto my computer, I'm just going to keep it safely here in the downloads folder, and I'm going to come back to it as part of step 2. Now step 2 is making sure you have a dedicated folder for all your sewing patterns. I conveniently call my folder sewing patterns. So within this folder, I have a folder for every single pattern company I have purchased a PDF pattern from. And yes, I do have a lot of PDF patterns. Now I already have a folder set up for True Bias because I've purchased patterns from them before. So let's take a look in that folder. So as you can see, I have additional folders in here, one for every single pattern. Let's make a new folder for the Dala pattern I just bought so we have a place to put it. Now you will notice that some patterns in this folder have a P or an M after the name of the sewing pattern. This is a little secret code I use. If I have a usable printed copy of that pattern in my pattern stash, then I will put a P after the name of the pattern. Doing this actually stops me from accidentally printing that pattern out again, saves me time, saves me money, and the M actually makes me go and check what size I cut out the last time I made it because I may need a different size the next time around, at which point I do actually have to go and print it out again. Anyway, now that we have a folder set up for that Dala pattern, let's go pick up that file we downloaded earlier. So back in the downloads, I copy this and I go and paste it into the folder I just made. Now as this is a zip file, I double click on it to open it up. There are Mac and PC files files in here. Now I'm operating in a PC environment, so I'm just going to copy the PC ones for now and paste them higher up in my folder for easier access. I will still have all those extra files in the zip available. I'm just making it easier to access the files I'm actually going to use. Now, as a side note, I no longer delete files within this system that I think I might actually never use. I used to never download, or I would delete the projector files that came with any sewing pattern that I purchased because I thought I'm never going to use a projector to cut out my sewing patterns. Guess who is now going down that path to set up a projector, and now I have to go find all those files which I've previously deleted. So do yourself a favor, always save and keep all the files that come with your downloads. Future you will thank past you for being so smart. Okay, so now my Dala pattern is sitting nice and safe on my personal hard drive of my computer. And the final part of step 2 for me is to make sure that I am regularly backing up this particular folder. I have invested a lot of money into this sewing pattern collection, and I definitely don't want to lose all of them if my hard drive corrupts. So I have a large external hard drive which I use to not only back up my sewing patterns but all my personal files, and I'll do that once a week. But now everything's nice and safe, we're not stopping there, we're moving straight on to step 3. Now, I like being able to view all my sewing patterns digitally. It saves paper, it saves space, and I can access them from my PC, my tablet, or my phone, wherever I am in the world. And to do this, I move all my sewing pattern instruction files to Dropbox. So Dropbox is a file sharing app where you can upload your files into the cloud and you can access them from your desktop or a mobile device. I use Dropbox for a lot of things, not just my sewing patterns, so I have a Dropbox subscription which I pay for to allow me that flexibility. However, they do have a free tier if you want to try them out. An alternative to Dropbox would be trying something like Google Drive or maybe Microsoft OneDrive. Those are some free options you might want to explore, but I personally like the versatility and the user interface of Dropbox. So when it comes to Dropbox, I pretty much set up the exact same filing system as I did in step 2. So I have a sewing patterns folder, and within that I have subfolders for each of the pattern companies. All I have to do is drag that Dala instruction file directly into the True Bias folder on Dropbox, and I will have everything I need to know about that specific sewing pattern anywhere in the world, provided I have Wi-Fi or a mobile data signal. So one of the things I like about Dropbox is if I know I'm going somewhere specifically where my mobile signal or perhaps Wi-Fi isn't going to be so great, I have the ability to download specific files directly onto my device, whether it be my iPad or my phone, and I'll be able to view that complete file even if I have 0 bars. Really good if you're going to socials or sewing getaways in the faraway places. And here we are at step 4 of my digital organization system, and this one is an absolute game changer. Stash Hub. Now, if you haven't heard of Stash Hub, definitely go and take a look at it. I'll link it down below. Let me tell you why I love it. So as soon as I buy a pattern and I've stashed it safely away in my sewing files, I then go to Stash Hub and I use their magic input feature. So for the Dala address, all I have to do is copy the web address of the pattern and paste it into Stash Hub, and then advise what format it is in. The app then grabs all the pattern details and images automatically from the website, and it fills it all out in the app for me. I only have to go in and fine tune things later, which saves me so much time. Not only does Stash Hub help you keep track of your patterns, it helps you organize your fabric as well. If you've bought your fabric online, you can also use the magic input feature, or if you've bought in person, you can take a photo and upload the details manually. And one of the features I really love in Stash Hub is I can match a fabric with a pattern and create a project file. These project files help me keep track of what's in my to-do list and helps me sort them by priority. I can assign due dates, and I can also keep any extra notes regarding my file, as well as any adjustments I might have made to the pattern or the fit. And I have that information safely in my pocket so I can refer to it whenever I want to. Stash Hub is available not only in your browser, but also as a mobile app. So I have it easily available whether I have it on my PC, my tablet, or my phone, which is great because now when I'm on my commute to work, I'm no longer playing Candy Crush, I'm now sorting out my next sewing project. Now, I personally love Stash Hub, but I am aware that there are other options out there. Threadloop is definitely one that gets talked about a lot. I tend to find that one is very similar to Ravelry, which supports the yarn craft community. There are definitely some nice features in there. I have had a good look around with it, but for me, I feel as if the versatility and the detail that Stash Hub provides is exactly what I need. The other thing is, I don't think Threadloop has an actual mobile app, at least not in the UK anyway. If there was a mobile app, I'd probably be inclined to try Threadloop a bit more, but yeah, Stash Hub is an absolute winner. Hello, Editing Kate here. Thought I'd just pop on because I've realised through editing this, I'm obviously very much talking about the digital version of my PDF patterns. At the very start of this video, I do actually show my physical PDF patterns that I've printed out. So if you are wondering how I organise my printed PDF patterns, it's pretty much in those baskets. And no surprises here, just like my online filing, I also file my physical printed out PDF patterns in alphabetical order of actual pattern company. I don't actually sort them alphabetically within the pattern company. That's too much for me. So pretty much across everything, it is one ecosystem. It is all arranged the same way, and I always know where to find things. So yeah, I thought I'd just jump on and clarify that. Let's get on with the rest of the video. So those are the 4 steps which I use to keep my sewing patterns organized and available to me wherever I go. I am just going to mention another app which I'm going to give an honorable mention to, and that is Millernote. I've been finding that I use Millernote more and more when it comes to planning those more detailed, complex sewing projects. Basic level of access to Millernote is free, so definitely go and give it a try. Millernote is basically a place where you can create a vision board. You can quickly save inspirational pictures from around the web, add notes, create color schemes, and really bring your project to life. As you can see here, I've used Millernote to help me decide my coordinating fabrics for my bestie bag and to decide the color scheme of my next project, which is to make some lovely linen cushions for our new kitchen benches. Again, Millernote is available on your desktop as well as your mobile devices, so you can keep your vision boards and your inspiration with you wherever you go. So yeah, just throwing that one in there as an honorable mention. So are you a visual planner like me, or are you a list maker? How do you go about organizing your sewing projects? How do you go about organizing your PDF patterns? Let's make this an open forum down in the comments. Go and share your ideas so others can take some inspiration. So that is a wrap for today. If you found one or all of these tips useful, then please go and give me a thumbs up down below. And whilst you're down there, and if you haven't already, then please do consider subscribing to my channel, as well as clicking on that notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any future Ripper Seams videos. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I wish you a wonderful week of sewing, and I'll see you in the next video.